the types of cars that'll be parked in that parking lot are personal cars, or are they commercial vans or trucks or what?
It would either be their personal car when they have the van. If they don't have the van, then it would be the van parked in the parking lot. It's
Okay.
it's like a Dodge Caravan type thing. It's not a,
Yeah.
it's not a huge vehicle.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I didn't have any other questions other than that, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Kirk?
No, I don't have question. Sounds good.
Thank you. Michael, from council's perspective, anything to share with us?
It's really just a tenant change here, Jim, with the, they wouldn't even be here except for the cars parking overnight. It's very much a commercial building in a commercial zone situation. And we may do an overlay district in this area sometime anyway. So I have no problem with it. It's it's a commercial setup, no question.
Okay, got it. So John, so these could be like fleet vehicles to some extent also, correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, basically they have the company name on them. But that's it. It's like a small Dodge Caravan type thing.
Sure.
And it's not any bigger than that. They're not huge vehicles. They, probably seat like 4 or 5 people.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Anyone from the audience that is logged on that want to comment on this particular proposal? I don't believe we have anyone, but I'll ask anyhow. Okay. All right, then I guess we'll entertain a motion to approve the variance as requested. Do we, let me just say one thing. Do we want to put a limit? No more than 3, no more than 2? How do people feel about that? Is there a sense to that?
Well,
Mary raised it originally, so.
he said 3 would be.
3, okay,
So I would be okay with 3.
so no more than 3.
I agree with
Okay.
that.
All right.
Okay.
So Mary, you make the motion?
I would move to approve this, yes.
Kirk, second?
Yes, second.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
We'll move to a vote then. Member Vigiani?
With the motion.
Thank you, Member Swanson.
With the motion.
Thank you, Member Rosenthal.
With the motion.
Thank you, Member Nardolillo.
With the motion,
Member Hong.
With the motion.
And the chair votes with the motion also, and it's hereby unanimously approved. John, thank you very much.
All right, thank you all. Appreciate your time. Have a good evening. Stay safe.
Thank you.
also.
200 Vly Road is up next. Take notice that the Town of Colonie Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a televised hearing on the 24th of February, 2021 at 7 p.m. to hear the appeal of Edward Aggins from the decision of the building department manager for the Town of Colonie, denying him a building permit for the premises located at 200 Vly Road. The proposed installation of a residential generator in a front yard on a corner lot with 27 plus or minus front yard setback, which is Woodland Drive, is not compliant with the prohibition of structures in a front yard as stated in the Town of Colonie Land Use Law, Article 6, Sections 190-24, 190-26 sub C sub 4, and 190 attachment number 3 dimensional table for prior established lots. Upon the request for a variance from the provisions of Code Town of Colonie, Chapter 190 to permit such construction and use, and a seeker determination for such an appeal. To protect public safety during the state of emergency triggered by COVID-19, this public hearing will take place via video teleconference. Comments submitted will be read aloud by the chairman during the meeting, and any member of the public wishing to listen and view this meeting, visit the town's YouTube channel. This is a type 2 seeker action requiring no further review, and the affidavit of publication is on record. Mr. Aggins.
Yes, sir.
You're here. Thank you. You want to give us a quick explanation as to what you hope to accomplish tonight?
I would just like to state my case for having a whole house generator. As you all know, everything that's going on in Texas with people that have lost power. And last year when we had those severe storms roll through Albany County, and majority of Colonie actually lost power, and the road behind our house had lost power for at least 3 days. So we were looking to have something like this put in to avoid anything like that happening here.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll move to questions from the board members. Kirk? Anything?
Okay. All right. Yeah, I do. And how the location was chosen? Is it by the professional? They come over and just how the location was picked,
Well,
the
we have,
generator.
yes, the fence there wouldn't allow basically the proper spacing for the gas line to go between the fence and the house to be moved into the backyard. So pretty much that would be the ideal location. And what I had wrote in the variance is that it's obviously going to be, I'm going to personally landscape the entire thing, that section of the house with arborvitaes and such. That way, it's not clearly visible. And if it needs to be worked on, there'll be adequate room between the arborvitaes and the generator itself to be serviced.
Okay. And, I asked this question for my own information too. So it's not necessary like, you want to put the generator near, like, I'm just throwing something like near your furnace, close to your furnace, something like that. It can be chosen any location.
Kirk, I think what you would see is that you want to locate it next to the natural gas line.
Which is in the left corner of the house there on the picture.
Okay.
That's a real
Go ahead,
issue.
Mike.
Okay. And a couple of days ago, I just, hear a piece of news about Generac. They are kind of, almost out of stock. There's so much demand. Is the generator you chose is the Generac?
Yeah, we bought a Guardian 16,000 kilowatt. It should be shipped within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'm guessing, is what I was told from Rich Reed Services, which is the gentleman that would be performing the installation.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Kirk. Mary?
So the gentleman that you mentioned, he is a professional installer,
Yes.
correct? Okay. No, that's it for me. And
Okay.
I'd like to also know if there's any concerns from the community.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
David?
I see you're planning to put shrubbery completely around it as best you can to hide it from everybody else. Is the generator itself about the size of an outdoor air conditioning unit?
What I have a blueprint of basically how I was going to do all the landscaping. So the generator itself with the base should be approximately 29 inches wide by 52 inches wide. And that is with the precast base that it's going to sit on. And it's approximately 29 inches tall. So with the precast base, I figure it's probably going to be around 31 to 32 inches tall. And I was going to go look at 3-foot arborvitaes. And if they weren't going to be sufficient to block at least 80% of the generator, I was going to at least get 4-foot arborvitaes instead.
Okay. And you're just going to punch a hole through the brick wall and to install.
Yes.
Okay. That's all the questions I had.
Thank
All right.
you, David. Tracy?
I don't have any questions.
Thanks, Nick.
My only question is, have you had any feedback from neighbors on this?
Funny you should ask, Nick. We have one letter from
Okay.
Michelle Hohen, which I'll read into the record, who's a neighbor at 202 Vly. I'm writing in regard to notice that my family received regarding our neighbor and his appeal to have a residential generator installed on his property at 200 Vly. We have no issue if Mr. Agins installs a residential generator in his front yard, especially considering the major power outage our neighborhood experienced this past fall. We ask that the town and the zoning board of appeals reconsider their stance on Mr. Agins' request. Thank you for your time, Michelle Hohen.
Thanks, Chair.
And there's no other comments on record. Unless,
Okay,
is there
thanks.
someone, Kim, anyone else log in that want to comment on this?
No.
Nope, we're good.
So, yeah, this is my last question, Chairman. Is
Yep, sorry.
just by industry standards, how often does this generator have to be tested and turned on outside of like power outages?
What you would see, Nick, I'm a little bit familiar. My brother-in-law is the Generac dealer.
So you have an in.
what you're gonna see is that it's gonna be located next to the natural gas line, because that's gonna be the supply. You can also use propane tanks if you
Yeah.
don't have natural gas. In the basement, next to the electrical panel box, will be mounted what they call the transfer switch. Okay, so, and those are automatic. So when power goes out, usually about 10 seconds, then the generator will kick in. There is a gasoline, well, it's actually a propane fired motor that generates the electricity. And typically what they do is they set it up for a once a week, 15-minute run to recharge the battery in the starter. But other than that, it is noiseless except when there's a power outage and it's running.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick. Any other comments? I will comment, Mr. Agan said, I think we've done several of these requests recently in the last couple of months, and I will say, I think yours was the only one that it actually had a landscaping component with it, which I think was very appropriate on your part to include that with your proposal. So I do thank you for that. So,
all right.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the variance.
Thank you. Kirk, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Nick, okay. We will then move to a vote. Any further discussion? Member Hong?
With the motion.
Member Nardilillo?
With the motion.
Thank you, Member Rosenthal.
With the motion.
Thank you, Member Swanson.
With the motion.
Thank you, Member Vigiani.
With the motion.
The chair votes with the motion. It's hereby unanimously approved. And thank you, folks, for your time. Have a nice evening.
Thank you,
All right.
folks. Have a nice
Thank you.
evening.
Next is 1208 Chestnut Street. Right? Yep. Take notice that the Town of Colonie Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a televised hearing on the 24th of February, 2021 at 7 p.m. to hear the appeal of Leonard Vona from the decision of the building department manager for the Town of Colonie, denying him a building permit for the premises located at 1208 Chestnut Street. The proposed construction of a 2,500 plus or minus square foot single-family dwelling on a 6,000 square foot through lot with a 60-foot width at the front building setback line and a 15-foot front yard setback is not compliant with the 12,000-foot minimum required lot size and 75-foot minimum width at the front of the building setback line and the 30-foot minimum front yard setback required in the single-family residential zoning district as stated in the Town of Colonie Land Use Law, Article 6, Section 190-24, 190-26 sub A, and 190 attachment number 3 dimensional table for prior established lots. Upon the request for a variance from the provisions of Code, the Town of Colonie, Chapter 190, to permit such construction and use, and a secret determination for such appeal. To protect public safety during the state of emergency triggered by COVID-19, this public hearing will take place via video teleconference. Comments submitted will be read aloud by the chairman during the hearing, and any member of the public wishing to listen and view this meeting, please visit the town's YouTube channel. This is a type 2 seeker requiring no further review, and the affidavit of publication is duly noted. Mr. Vovna, did I get that right?
That is correct. Yes. Thank you.
Oh, why don't you give us a brief explanation as to what you hope to accomplish at Chestnut Street? Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for your time. I appreciate you taking a look at this for me. And we are planning to see if we would get a permission to put up a single family home. I have 3 beautiful girls. 4 months old, 3 years and 5 years old. And we need a little bit more than a single bathroom that we have in the house right now. And my parents live next door. We wanted to see if we could build a house on that lot there. So we like the neighborhood, like very nice people live there. So we wanted to see if we can also live in that neighborhood.
Thank you, sir. Good explanation. Member Vigiani. Nick, why don't you start us this time?
Okay, thank you, Chairman. So what have you heard from neighbors so far on this proposal?
Everyone that I spoke to, there's Tom lives to the left if we are facing the property.
Yep.
My parents live to the right. They're okay with that. Kapusniks live next door over, next to Tom's house. They're very nice people. They said that they would be more than happy to have us as neighbors. Rick across the street said he has no problem with that. Mike, who lives further down the road, has no problem with that either. And Don across the street from my dad's house, he said he would be happy to have us there too. So everybody that I spoke to on the street did not have any issues with that.
Okay, thank you very much. I just had one quick question about how you've got the house situated on the lot as far as the plan that we're looking at on the screen right now.
Mhm.
Look, the front of the house would come out in front of the two neighboring houses, probably by, what's that, about 10 feet or so, maybe?
Yeah, around that much, yep.
Yeah, and no issues with neighbors as far as not trying to align the front of the house setback with the other houses, the other neighboring houses, I should say.
Nobody said anything to me when I was talking to them, and I'm not sure if they and if anybody submitted anything besides my conversation. Nobody said anything to us against
Okay.
that.
All right, and this building, this would be the house that you and your family would live in.
Yes, yep.
And if you're granted a variance tonight, when would you start building?
Well, I wanted to start it as soon as possible, but with all the backup with construction, we would like to put a modular house there, so to make it happen quickly. But it all will depend on how quickly the turnaround is at the factory.
Okay, so the drawings that we're looking at in our packet tonight, are they still accurate based on what you want to do, or would your module
Yeah,
be
nothing has
significantly
been
different?
nothing has been changed. They're still accurate. Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. No other questions, Chairman.
Thank you, Nick. Tracy?
I don't have any questions. I think I took a look at the property and I know it's a smaller lot, but it seems consistent with the neighborhood and I don't have any questions.
Thank you, David.
Just wondering why you placed the house where it is as opposed to making it even with the others. What was,
Yeah.
just curious what the reason is.
There's not much of a backyard, and having 3 kids, possibly more in the future, God willing, we wanted to have a place for them to play. So,
Right, I have no problem. I just wondered why.
Okay, Mary?
In this drawing, what is that shed behind the house? Is that something that's on both properties?
that is a little a metal shed. It's it was there. Tom bought this property from the previous owner, and because the property where we were trying to put the house was basically abandoned, so the previous owner, where Tom lives now, he just put that shed there. I did not think it was on my property, so when the surveyor did the drawings, that's when we realized it was on our property. But it's a tiny shed. It's not much to move it.
I did not even notice that when I went by, and that's why when I looked at these blueprints, I didn't even remember seeing that. So
Yeah, it's behind a little behind the shed. There are bushes there. They're not clear, so you can't even see it because
okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the front of your house, that's in front of where everyone else's house begins. That's your garage. Is that your garage? Right there right there.
Yeah, it's a garage on the second floor.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Thanks, Mary. Kirk?
So you also provide the floor plan the first floor and second floor layout. And I'm just looking at there's also a front elevation. There's two different kinds. One is the garage door is on the left side of the entrance. And the other, there's also another drawing show the garage is on the right side of the entrance door. So what exactly, I'm looking at the overview of the property. It looks like the garage is on the left side of the entrance door. Is that the intent?
Yeah, so we wanted to do the mirror image compared to what it was before. So I don't remember when I submitted the first set of paperwork, but for the hearing, the second set of paperwork, everything was it was just a mirror image. So the floor plan is exactly the same, just a mirror image.
Okay, but you are planning to have the garage on the left, kind of. When I say left side, I mean left side of the front door.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you, Kirk. Anyone else who's logged on have any comments or observations on this particular proposal? Hearing none. Michael, anything?
I think it's a typical infill lot, Jim, that we've seen many times before. Typically, though, we would like to typically maintain that front line in the neighborhood situation over there. I understand the applicant's need with the family and that type of situation. I have no problem with the project, but if he could see his way fit to move that house back a little bit and line up with the rest of the neighborhood, I know it takes a little of his backyard away at that time, but it would be more typical of what we've approved in the past.
Okay, thank you, Michael. It's not an uncommon suggestion from this board.
And I think it's a wise decision to do that. I think it would look more conforming.
Yeah, I don't remember what the rest of the street looks like, if they're all lined up on the same latitude or longitude.
Well, I can tell you across the street, there's a family of geese on the corner. And I'm glad that wasn't where the house was going, because I would hate to see them displaced.
All right. Is there a motion? Who would like to make the motion for this particular variance? Anybody?
I think
Kirk?
yes.
Sorry.
So I think our counsel is not, he just kind of suggests, right, that if the house can be moved back a little bit, right?
Typically, Kirk, we like to see that front line be uniform in the neighborhoods. Okay.
Okay.
I understand that it's a small lot, and I understand that he's got to have a growing family situation, but typically, he's got neighbors, his parents on one side and family on the other side. I don't have a great problem with it, but he might want to consider resale at some point in time, and that if the house is so far forward, it may be a bit of a sore thumb for someone who's looking at it. So if he can see his way fit to push that house back even 5 feet or so, that would, I think, make it more conforming to the neighborhood. So,
okay.
Joe, does this go to planning for further approval or review?
Nope.
No? Okay.
Okay. All right. And okay. So how is the applicant feel about council's suggestion?
Well, I'm not sure if you were able to view we submitted a list of different houses. Mike's house at 1218 is a little bit further, closer out to the road. And then there's also a house right across the street at 1211 is much closer to the road. even closer than what we're suggesting, where we will have our house. And the house on the very corner, I think it's 1220 maybe. If you go further down, it's almost, yeah,
Oh,
it's almost next to the road there.
Mhm.
And it's like that on the other houses.
Okay.
So I'm not too much out. Yeah, it doesn't conform with the two houses on the sides, my parents and Tom's house, but in general within the neighborhood there.
Would it be
Okay.
comparable to 1218?
I believe so. Maybe a little bit further than 1218, not by much though.
These lots, excuse me, on the last area of the neighborhood, which is Chestnut and Vine Street, some of those are the newer houses and people did set them back, but obviously the majority of the construction in that area is more of a city style. And most of the houses outside of these two streets are much closer. And we do have one letter of support in favor of granting Mr. Vovno the variance that I'm sure Jim Campbell has. But I don't see the front yard being that much of an issue. He's either going to have a small backyard and a bigger front yard, or he keeps the front yard small and maintains the backyard. I think the better thing is to maintain the backyard.
Now that I see the photograph of the neighborhood and particularly 1211, I'll walk back my comments and in that the neighborhood there's a lot of difference in all over in the neighborhood. I have no problem.
and I do apologize. Kim, do I have a letter?
I'm gonna look for that letter right now.
I have the letter. It's from Mike Sicko.
Okay.
And it says, I would like to respond in favor of this variance. This young man has been a neighbor since they moved into their house. We have had a good relationship and I can attest to the fact that they are great neighbors. He is a great father and hard worker. He is respectful of his neighbor's property. The lot has been vacant since I built my house 30 plus years ago. They have had over the last number of years made attempts to purchase this property. They have made every attempt to make this property presentable. They removed fallen trees and cleared the property. It would create another taxable piece of property for the town of Colonie. If you would like to contact me or my wife for answers to any questions you may have. Sorry, this email was late, but I've been having issues with my email. And then he left his phone number, and that's from Mike Sicko at AOL.com. And I'll send that to you right now, Jim.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Well, I say anyone who's willing to move in next to their parents deserves a lot of points in my book. Particularly for your wife moving in next to her in-laws.
Yes. All right. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
Thank you. Thank you, Kirk. Tracy seconds it. Okay, we'll move to a vote then.
Mr. Chairman, just a quick point. That
Yes,
shed
David.
in the back corner that splits the property line in the back corner that the property line goes through,
Yeah, the shed. Yep.
whose shed is it? The one on the proposed lot? They're going to, whoever it is, they're going to probably tear it down if it splits the property line, or are they going to leave it?
That belongs to Tom. I'm not planning on asking him to move it. If he wants to move it, I can help him do that. If he wants to leave it there.
Yeah, I have no problem. Why don't you just put a door on either side and both of you use it? Leave it there. And put a door on either side and both of you go into it. Just a suggestion. Okay.
Thank you, David. All right, we'll move to a vote. We have a motion. Member Vigiani?
Motion.
Thank you, Member Swanson.
With the motion.
Thank you, Member Rosenthal.
With the motion.
Thank you, Member Nardilillo.
With the motion.
Thank you, Member Hung.
With the motion.
Thank you. And the chair votes with the motion. It's hereby unanimously approved. And good luck, Mr. Voynick.
Thank you
And
so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for improving the town of Colonie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Last but never least, the O'Briens.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
Good evening, Joe. Mary Ellen, good evening.
How are you?
We go way back, so full disclosure. Take notice that the Town of Colony Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a televised hearing on the 24th of February, 2021 at 7 p.m. to hear the appeal of Joe and Mary Ellen O'Brien from the decision of the building department manager for the Town of Colony, denying them a building permit for the premises located at 12 Chestnut Hill Road North. The proposed construction of a 14 by 28-foot in-ground pool in their front yard on a corner lot with a 35-foot front yard setback is not compliant with the prohibition of accessory structures in a front yard in a single-family residential zoning district as stated in the Town of Colony Land Use Law, Article 6, Section 190-24, 190-26 sub C sub 4, and 190 attachment number 3 dimensional table for prior established lots. Upon the request for variance from the provisions of the Code of Town of Colony, Chapter 190 to permit such construction and use, and a secret determination for such appeal. To protect public safety during the state of emergency triggered by COVID-19, this public hearing will take place via video teleconference. Comments submitted will be read aloud by the chairman during the hearing. Any member of the public wishing to listen and view the meeting, please visit the town's YouTube channel. This is a type 2 seeker requiring no further review. The affidavit of publication is duly noted. Joe, Mary Ellen, give us a quick overview of what you propose to do.
Well, we're proposing to put in an in-ground pool, and which is in our backyard, but according to, okay, oh, there's a, so it's in our backyard, but since we're on a corner lot, I guess it's viewed as a side lot or front yard. As you can see, we have a row of arborvitaes there that will shield us from that road. They're about 15 feet tall. We had a survey done, which maps out the fence and also the proposed pool.
Okay. That does it.
Yeah.
Okay, Mayor, let's see, who hasn't gone? David, why don't you start us off?
I have no questions.
Oh, that's the kind of start off I like. Tracy.
I don't have any questions either.
Nick.
Nope. The only issue here is just that it's a side lot, not really a true front yard, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. No questions, Chairman. Thank
you. Mary?
I have no concerns at all, no questions. I will tell you that when I came up and took a right, I was a little bit intimidated by that road because it looked like I would be driving into someone's fence. So I backed out, which is a feat in itself. I backed out of the road and went on my way and came home and looked at the paperwork rather than to view it. But clearly, it looks like it's fine with me. There's not.
It's really an access road. It's a no-name road.
Okay. Well, I got a little nervous that if
some people do think that that you're going into somebody's.
Yeah. So I said, you know what? I'm sure it's just because it's on a corner. So I'll go home and look at the paperwork.
Burke?
Joe, I'm looking at the plan. It didn't specify the size of the pool.
I think it did.
It did.
It did?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did I miss it?
14 by
It's not
28.
large. It's 14 by 28.
It's 14 by
Okay.
20.
Yeah, it's not very large.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, Kim, anyone else on this one?
Nope.
All right. Michael, any questions?
No, I have no problem. It's a typical corner lot situation, even better than most with the screening and the size of the. I have no whatsoever.
Right, and the fact that it's an access road, it's really not even a through street in many ways, so. Okay,
you. Chairman, I would go ahead and offer a motion that we approve this variance.
thank you, Nick. Is there a second?
Second,
Kirk? Okay, we got a second? Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote then. Member Hong?
with the motion.
Thank you, Member Nardolillo.
With the motion.
Thank you, Member Rosenthal.
With the motion.
Thank you, Member Swanson.
With the motion.
Thank you, Member Vigiani.
With the motion.
And the chairman's with the motion, and it's hereby unanimously approved.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I just want to say thank you to Joe and Kim for getting us on this agenda for February. hopefully the pool guy gets there before December. I also just want to say, just kind of FYI to the zoning board. I understand the process, but we had to notify so many people that we're putting in a pool. Not putting on a deck, not putting on a, we're putting in a pool. And we even had to tell people on Clover Lane who can't see our house.
Wow.
So I'm just going to throw that out. The guy who did I'm not throwing him under the bus, but the guy who even did the survey said, well, you don't have to go very far with letters. And I said, well, we did. So I'm only concerned about, and I'm sure you would be too, if you were putting in a pool, you're not going to take out an ad in the paper. So just FYI, maybe in the future you can cut down on who gets notified.
You might have people showing up for a swim.
Yeah. You know how that goes, the pool hoppers, yeah.
Well, I'm impressed if you're empty nesters. You're putting a pool in as empty nesters. That's impressive.
Yes, he's not, he'll be back, I'm sure. But we did have, I don't know if you know, but we did have a couple of neighbors, all of our neighbors that contacted us said they were supportive. I think 2 sent emails and said that they were okay with it, but they also asked when the first cocktail party was. So.
Of course. Of course. So, well, thanks, Mary Ellen and Joe. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim.
We appreciate it. Any other business to come before the board tonight? Joe, Don, Michael, we're good? We're gathering again the same time next Wednesday for 2 items. So it shouldn't be that torturous. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
You'd never say that, Jim.
Yeah.
Don't.
Any discussion of in-person meeting?
Not yet.
Right?
Not
No.
yet.
Yeah, I think probably the earliest would be May, and we're probably looking at even later than that, but I'll keep you updated as soon as we get more information.
Okay.
Well, thanks to Kim's good work. I think we're getting pretty good at this. So
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
This is really easy.
Yes.
It is.
right. And we're still live. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second that motion.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You're hereby adjourned.